Hi, I'm Dottie D'Ambra, and we're here today with the Fall Sports Talk. And we're here with the Foxborough High School 2007 cross-country captains. And we have Maggie Dustin, Emily Flaherty, Pat Martin, John Gary, and we have Coach Kevin Murphy. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Thanks for coming in. I first wanted to start off the conversation, and we're going to focus a little bit on you, Coach. I understand from an article recently in the Sun Chronicle, and I hope you don't mind if we're going to give you a little brag session right now, that you have been coaching for 23 years?
I've been teaching here 23. This is my 24th cross-country season.
Yeah.
And I had 11 seasons before I came. I was in Norwood.
Okay.
So it's my 30. Anybody add here?
35th.
All math whizzes here.
35th.
35th, maybe, something like that. Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time considering you're only 20 years old.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I understand that you were recently recognized by MIAA, and you were the Wellness Coordinator of the Year? Tell me,
yeah.
and that happened in awards at the Sheridan in Milford?
It was at the MIA annual summit, and it was at the Sheraton in Milford.
Can you talk a little bit about what that meant, how that came about? What is the wellness program? Is that with the school, or is it a part of sports, or is it?
It's picked from all the wellness coordinators over the state, and usually they have the same position that I do, which wellness now is kind of like a combination between health and phys ed. More recently it's called wellness, but it used to be called health or phys ed, and they kind of combined it to expand the area, and there's a lot more things involved in teaching and coordinating it than there used to be.
And the article states that this is your last year. You're retiring in June.
That would be correct.
Does that mean you're not going to be coaching as well? You're just retiring from the school system?
No, I'm retiring from coaching as well.
Oh, how do you
Time
feel?
for some of the young kids to come back that I've coached that want my job.
Yeah, hard shoes to fill, I'm sure.
They'll do well.
Can you tell me a little bit, how do you feel? How'd you come to the decision? What are you going to be taking away from this whole experience on all your years?
Great experience. I mean, every day is like my first. When I leave the house in the morning and say goodbye to my wife, I don't say I'm going to work or I'm off to the job. I'm off to school, like I did when I was 5 years old or something. And it's still exciting. I still look forward to seeing the kids every day and working with them. It's very rewarding.
Good.
But it's time for some young blood to come in.
How have things changed over the years? You must have seen a lot of different things.
Yeah,
administrators come and go.
a lot of them. Very happy with the administration that's in there now. I mean, as I'm leaving, I think the future of Foxborough is in great hands now, probably better than ever.
And how do you feel about the wellness? Are we on the right track as far as these kids eating right, training and conditioning?
There's a lot more knowledge than used to be, so there's a lot more out there to teach. Unfortunately, over the years with budget cuts and Prop 2.5, that's how it all started. That's why I left Norwood, or I didn't leave, I got, I got cut. At one time there were 7 teachers under me in the seniority list in the whole system, and then gradually over 3 or 4 years, then I got cut.
I understand that's their loss and Foxborough's gain, because
Thank you.
I've seen you at different things at the high school, and not just the cross-country team, but all students. They're all like, hey, how you doing? And you're right there saying, what's going on, and you're talking to the kids. They all admire you. So that's a great thing.
Well, I think we have an advantage in the job that we're in, being in the gym or in the classroom. Everybody through the school comes through it. At one time, juniors and seniors had health mandatory, 3 times a week. And right now it's like phys ed. When things get cut, it's usually the minor subjects.
Right.
Health, phys ed, art, music. But there's a push now to get more health and phys ed back in because of the situation. There's so much more obesity now.
Right.
In young kids, diabetes.
Yeah.
So things are going to expand. Next year there will be health at the high school for freshmen and sophomores. Will be it's not etched in stone yet, but we're going to alternate cycles with gym and health to start teaching some of the things that we had lost in the past.
Good.
And this has come about because we have a new superintendent, very supportive principal, assistant principals at the high school.
That's great. Good news. Let's get to the captains. Can you tell me how long have you been running all 4 years of high school?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you participate in any other sports? Do you spring track, indoor track, or anything else?
Yeah, I do spring and winter track.
I just do winter track too.
I do winter track, and then I also play lacrosse in the spring. Yeah.
I do winter track and spring track.
What type of events do you compete in outside of cross country? Is it distance that you would typically in winter track and spring track? Is it continuing to be distance? Because that's what you're trained with. How many kids are on the team?
Cross country team or like winter spring track?
Cross country.
There's about like 14 girls and probably same amount of boys.
And can you tell me a little bit about your training schedule before the season starts? Because I think you start practicing in August. I don't know if you have any captains practices or you have some kind of conditioning that happens during the summer. And then during the season, what is your practice schedule like?
We usually have a running camp type thing in the summer, and it goes at 8 in the morning. And then when the season starts, we go Monday to Friday, and then sometimes we have practices on Saturdays.
And what are you doing during your practices? Do you lift weights? Is it running? Is it stretching? What are you doing?
It's a lot of stretching, and you have to warm up. But we alternate. We'll go on the roads one day, but the next day will be more of speed stuff, on the fields around the high school. And before a meet, we usually run for a half an hour, so we're not sore or anything for the meet. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And is the training any different between the girls and the boys? Or you're both out there training the same way, conditioning the same way?
Yeah, we practice and train all together, and we run workouts together. And the only place that we're separated is really in the races when the boys run in separate races from girls.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. In the season, it's typically starts September, runs through October, or maybe a little bit longer. Is that correct?
Mid-November.
Mid-November. Is that because you might qualify for some of the different meets in the end?
Yeah. Every team can go to the state divisional meet.
Okay.
And that's 2 weeks before vacation, Thanksgiving. And if you qualify, you go on to the all-state meet, which is the weekend before Thanksgiving.
And how's the season going so far? Because right now with the taping, we're we're October 1st right now. How's the season going so far?
Well, the girls are 2-2, so we're really happy about that. We haven't been 50-50 in the past 4 years that I've been here, so I think it's a really good improvement that we have this year.
For the guys, we're 1-3 so far, but we've faced some of the hard teams in the league already, so we have easier teams coming up, so hopefully we can take some wins there.
Good. Can we talk? I have a lot of questions here about what typically happens in a meet, as far as where are your meets held? Because I know you're running. How far are you running, and is it different distances, or are you competing at different levels? What happens in a meet?
We usually have one town that hosts each meet, and they're usually different distances. I think the shortest one's 2.5.
2.5 by MIA rules. 2.5 to 3.1.
Yeah.
And the longest is?
3.1.
And can you compete in more than one, or you have to select which distance you want to run in?
Well,
it'll be one or the other.
Yeah.
And do you have individual goals that you try to accomplish at each meet during the season? Do you have a team goal? As far as, I think that's great. You said you don't recall being 50-50, and that's a good goal. And I know we were talking earlier, and sometimes you don't like to set a time goal because you just want to finish the race. But is there anything that you try to do to set goals? And do you guys as individuals set goals?
Well, for a team goal that we have is to try to keep your number 1 runner and your number 5 runner, you want them to have the smallest gap in the time between your fastest and the 5th man, which counts on points for winning a meet.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to get that small and small every meet.
And how about you? Anything? Have you set any goals for the season? Do you typically set a goal?
I look for individual improvement by everybody, and if everybody works hard and improves, then the team goal will come. It's nice to win. We've had a lot of winning seasons. We've also had a couple offers, a couple double offers, 0 for 8 and 0 for 8, but that hasn't been for a while.
And how about scoring? What happens? How do the scores happen in a meet?
Well, the top 5 runners are the runners that actually count for scoring in a meet. You want
Top 5 runners from from Foxborough, or top 5 runners in that meet, whether they're Foxborough or the other team?
well both, but from Foxborough is how the scoring works. Like, well, we race against 2 towns, but like our first runner like should beat their first runner, and it's like it all depends on that. Like the team with the lowest amount of points wins. So like if you come in first, you get a point. If you come in like 3rd, you get 3 points. So you want to have like the lowest possible times for your top 5 runners, and then that's how you can win.
Does that go back to where you're saying that's where you want a close gap between your first and your 5th runner? Is there any strategy to running? Do you need to set does somebody set the pace for the race, and then you kind of work out a strategy? You have strong people that set the pace, and then somebody comes up, and you pushing yourselves, you're pushing each other. You know what each other's capabilities are.
Well, it's good to work off of someone else, like maybe follow them for a bit of the race, and then when you see them struggling, go ahead. And it's good to see how long you can stick with a kid that's better than you on your team and work to achieve to beat him.
And it's always good to have negative splits throughout the race. Each mile you want to get progressively faster, and that's what it means to have negative splits. And because if you go out too fast, you're just bound to slow down towards the end, which isn't good because you get passed and the scoring is all messed up. And if you get progressively faster, you're passing kids, and your score is getting better, so that when you finish, it's usually a better time than if you go out really fast.
And is somebody out there telling you, like at certain distances, is somebody out there telling you so you know I'm ahead of myself, or I'm doing okay, or is somebody out there, like you just mentioned, is somebody giving you that cue?
Yeah, Murph and Coach King usually stand like throughout the course and just tell you what your time is, and like tell you if you should be going faster or not.
Exactly. Faster, maybe.
The conditions faster.
Pick it up, Emily.
Now the conditions that you're running in, you're running all kinds of surfaces and all kinds of weather. How do you prepare for this?
Well, a lot of our courses have hills, so like we'll try and get in a few like hill workouts throughout the season. And I mean, it's hard to like train for the rain because you can't really like run in the rain just if you want to. But like our jamboree got canceled because it was raining too much, which that hasn't happened. So
It was just dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be running water like that, and there were rocks underneath.
And you don't know what's
turn an
underneath.
ankle.
Yeah.
And we heard some thunder, too. Remember when we ran?
Yeah, we ran back to the bus.
Said, we're out of here.
Do you mostly compete against Hockomock teams, or are you competing from non-league teams?
The early part of the season is typically just the Hockomock League, and then postseason, which is going to the larger state meets, include dozens of teams with hundreds of runners, and so yeah.
And you mentioned you have to qualify. Is that done, the team qualifies or an individual qualifies?
Both.
Both?
Top 5 teams in every division, Division 1, 2, 3, 4, go on to the All-State meet. The top 8 individuals from each one go on. And it gets a little complicated because you could finish 20th and still go on. If out of the 5 teams that qualify, if there's 15 runners on those 5 teams qualify, you don't count those teams. You go down and take the next individual.
Okay.
So you never give up. Just because you're in 15th place and you know you're not in the top 8, you run as hard as you can because you may qualify for the All-State meet.
Are you running against yourselves? are you running with the? Are you thinking of yourselves as a team out there when you're running, or you're running as yourself trying to beat yourself, your team from before?
I think that it's a little bit of both. You want to race against the clock, but you also want to be smart in your race and know what place you're in and what you need to do for your team to win.
Mm-hmm. What kind of accomplishments in your 4 years have you had? Like something that stands out. What are some of your accomplishments?
I would just say like trying to get faster times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. You just you want a PR. Like it's hard because you can't really go off of your times because there's all different conditions that you run in. It's not like a set course, and the weather can be different. Like we just ran in 90-degree heat the other week, so you can't really you can't compare your times between courses. So you just want to know you feel good during your race, you get stronger. That's a good goal to have.
Mm-hmm. As far as wellness, what do you do to keep yourselves in shape? Are you making sure you're eating right? You're not heading off to Wendy's after practice and having a hamburger and a Frosty?
I don't know about that. I used to have kids that head off on their run and they'd go to friendlies and stop.
Really?
Really? Yes.
Was that you? When you were a freshman?
No.
No.
Mm-hmm. You're kidding.
There've been a few, yeah.
Before you run.
Oh yeah, some of the earlier teams I've had, and even
We're
maybe,
doing.
I can think of a few teams maybe 8 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'd drive around to check on and make sure they're safe. I'd see them leaving friendly.
Because you know that they should be coming back at
Then
some
they'll come
point.
back and they'll go by a water faucet or something and throw some water on them. They're sweaty.
Have there been any surprises this year? Any runners? Any meets that you've been this one stood out? Any surprises in their potential?
I think a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think especially, I think Danielle Gentile, one of our runners, she's worked really hard lately, and she won our last meet, so I think she deserved it. She's been working really hard, so I give her credit for that.
And there's a couple new freshman girls too that have really stepped it up, like Sarah Andres and Keelan Pacelli just switched, and she's really good too. So.
Is there a feeder program at the middle school? How do these upcoming freshmen, how do they prepare?
The girls have a club down there that get together once or twice a week in the spring. But other than that, there's nothing in the fall, nothing in the winter. So it's hard to recruit and get runners out. There's so many kids playing field hockey and soccer too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great runners on those teams, both boys and girls.
Right.
That if some of them did cross country, would still be winning the league every year.
Is there any tryouts that happen, or whoever comes out for the team,
Everybody
anybody's
makes
accepted?
the team. Well, we don't cut.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And you can come out at any time. It's not like they have trials for soccer or football or something out, and you earn your position. We recently had 3 freshman boys come out in the last week. So it's good for them. They feel a part of the team now and they're working hard.
Good. How about any kind of team building activities? Do you do anything, because you're working hard. I'm sure you're working very hard at school, right? Getting the good grades. Is there any kind of team building activities that you might do throughout the season? Anything that you seniors might do with the freshmen? Any kind of psych activities that go on?
Several times before meets, we'd get together at someone's house and have a pasta party, which is just everyone getting together, eating some carbs before the race the next day. And along with that, we also participate in fundraisers, and everyone comes together. We do canning at some of the football games, the Patriots games, as well as car washes annually.
What does the fundraising go towards? Because, anybody that's watching cross country could use your help. So call the school, make a donation. What does it go to? Warm-ups?
Well, it goes for new uniforms if we need it, track supplies. The uniforms get worn over the years. We need new ones. End of the year, the banquet, and doing all stuff with it. Other leagues, parents have to pay money.
Right.
And with our fundraising, we don't have to pay money to participate in the sport.
Good. What are your plans for next year? As far as are you planning, I know you might be looking at schools. If you're doing early admittance, you probably have already had to submit them some things. Are you going to continue with sports? What do you want to do next year?
I want to go to college next year for nursing. So, and I'll
Have
probably,
you been looking at schools?
Yeah, and I'll probably just run on my own.
Yeah, I don't maybe plan on doing winter track in college, but not cross country. I'd run on my own like in the fall and get settled and everything, like the beginning of college. And I'd really like to go to BC, but we'll see how that goes.
I love running, but I just don't think that it's as big a part of my life as education is. And in college, I'll probably join clubs for running, or I just don't think that I'd make varsity. But I'll definitely continue running.
I still want to continue running and running competitive. I'm looking at like Bentley for college, but other than that, I'd like to run in like Division I schools, try to make it in a day.
And are there a lot of schools? How are the track programs at these colleges? I mean, you talked about in high school things are cut. In colleges, how is it? Are there active programs, competitive programs?
Very competitive.
Are they?
Yeah. And to get a spot on the varsity team, you have to run really fast.
Do you have a varsity and a JV, or is it all just varsity?
Well, when you do your scoring, you count your top 7. You only take the points from the top 5, but your 6th and 7th can help displace somebody's other top 5 to knock them down, give them a bigger number. But everybody runs together in the same race. We have some races where there could be 80 runners in it, because we're probably the smallest team.
You are.
Yeah, we went against Oliver Ames our first meet. I think they had 50 boys. We had probably 12 that race, maybe.
12, 10.
Yeah.
Does everyone run in the meet, or sometimes you have people that sit out, maybe injuries, or just they don't run for that particular meet? Or does everybody,
Yeah.
if you're healthy,
One of our top girl runners, Brittany Gruder, she's hurt, so she's not able to run for a few weeks. But we still have a lot of girls that are running. So I don't know about the boys.
Most of the guys are running now. There's maybe a couple kids with small injuries, but they'll be back later in the season.
And anything going on for your senior year? How do you feel about this being your senior year? It's got to be an exciting time for you. It's like, oh my God, it's here. I couldn't wait for this day. But when you look back, this year is going to fly by for you. Any kind of expectations for this year? Any goals that you have for this year? As far as academically, events and things outside of the track team.
Well, as you go through the year, you're noticing that there's a lot of lasts, and there's our last home meet we had. There's the first day of school.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
yeah. Just as the year goes on, you're just kind of thinking, this is the last time I'm going to be doing something.
Well, I think we're almost out of time. Is there anything more you want to add about how are your projections for this year? What do you think you're going to do as far as finishing up the season?
I think we're going to go 4-4. I think we have a really good chance of winning
I like your answer.
against these next 2 teams, but the week after that is Mansfield and Franklin, 2 of the powerhouse, so that would be hard to win, but we'll see how it goes.
We're going to aim for 3 and 5. I think we can pull it off, but if not, we already have a better record than last year if we can win one more meet.
That's good. Anything from you, Coach? Any final words? Any words of wisdom?
Oh, wisdom? I don't know. No, it's been great. These are great captains. They've been setting a great example for the young kids. And hopefully the young kids are going to be like them in a couple of years. And they got a lot of benefits out of competing. They might not realize it now, but they will later on.
We'd like to thank you for your many, many years of service, and wish you a lot of luck. And this year is probably going to be a roller coaster, emotional ride for you. And like to wish you guys the best of luck in this season and in your senior year and years to come. And I want to thank you all for being here tonight. And thank you to Foxborough Cable Access for having us. You guys do a great job. Thank you for supporting the town and being active in everything that everybody does. And that's all we have for tonight.
Thank you
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Thank you very much.
Been a lot of fun.